Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler here from the Sacramento Breakdown, and I'm about to be talking about last night's W 120-116 versus the Suns. I was gonna do it last night. I was absolutely exhausted. There was no way I could have done it last night. I was sitting there on the couch like this, watching the game, dozing off. I could barely. I don't know if I'm able to read my notes because I was so out of it. So that being said, we're talking about the Kings game. Phoebo, what's up? How's it going? Before we get into the Kings game, though, a couple things I want to address. I haven't been around for the last, I think, 4 recaps. I'm working right now, and the way that my work schedule works, I work at 5 in the morning usually, so it's just been really difficult the last week with how work's been. Skip's been taking over for me. He actually missed the Celtics recap. He is still going to do that recap. So even if we skip one or we miss one temporarily, we're always going to go back and recap that game that we missed. So Skip at some point is going to do the Celtics recap. No big deal. He's busy. I'm busy. Originally, the Sactown Breakdown was going to be my thing. Skip commented on my video and literally said, I tried doing it once already. I tried covering all 82 games. I failed. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm willing to jump on to help you. And then that's how our partnership began. If I didn't have him, those games would not have been covered that he did, because if he wasn't there, that just wouldn't have happened. And so I'm very thankful for Skip, Curtis. Thank you so much for taking over when you need to. And then I'm going to take over when I need to, because I'm giving Curtis the break because Thanksgiving's coming up. And for me, that's the hardest time of year for me at work. And I'm about to be working some 3:30 to midnight shifts, which means I'll be missing Kings games for the next week, basically. So you're not going to be seeing much of me past this review for the next week or so. And then it might get a little choppy, too, around Christmas time. But between then, I'm going to try to do as much as I can between Thanksgiving and Christmas to kind of make up for the fact that, Skip's been carrying the load for me, and I appreciate it. And, he likes doing it anyways. This is something he did before, and it was hard for him to do every game, just like it'd be hard for me to do every game by myself. So it's nice that we can do it together. One takes over when the other one can't do it. It's perfect. It's how partnerships should work. It's crazy, though. One of those days I didn't do the recap. It was my girlfriend's birthday, and on that day, we both worked 5 to 1:30. Then we both had to turn around and work midnight to 8:30. So we got off at 1:30, had to come back to work at midnight and work overnight. Think about that. That's crazy. That's why I've been gone. It's not because I've been, off playing. I've been playing Call of Duty the whole time. That's why I haven't been here. No, I've been working. So that being said, got my classic Kings gear on. One more thing I want to say before we get into this game. It's actually amazing. I have tons of this blue and red classic Kings retro gear that I've bought over the years. My parents have bought for me on holidays or whatever. This beanie my mom I think got for me years ago. Or maybe I bought it myself, but it was a long time ago. I was always butthurt because the Kings always wore baby blue. I didn't have any baby blue stuff. I bought one baby blue snapback last year, and now they're finally using the blue and red retro stuff, so now I can finally wear it and not look like a weirdo. And I do love the blue and red retro. I love all these logos and everything. I feel like somebody's going to stop me on the street and be like, hey man, where'd you get that? And I'm like, I don't know, I had it for years, because I feel like I don't see much blue. I mean, they're starting to make some more blue and red retro stuff. But anyways, I think it's kind of funny how, now all of a sudden, y'all ever smoke so much weed? From Big PP Pang. That is got to be one of the most intelligent conversations ever asked here on the Sactown Breakdown. But the answer is no, not for me at least. Anyways, so let's just get into the game. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be as crisp as I would be if I had just watched the game. But we're going to do it anyways. I do have some problems with how the Kings played last night, even though they played good. I got some problems, some grievances, but I'm just going to go through like I always do. I'm going to break down the game, then probably pull up the box score, talk a little, and that'll be it. And for people on YouTube watching, I had a comment. I think someone said, basically, I'm not prepared enough when I do mine. But it's kind of different watching on YouTube compared to watching someone do it live. Because watching it live, you're interacting with the chat. Oh, let me pull this thing up. You think in your head, oh, I'm going to pull this up. Then you pull it up. Now, should I have the box score pulled up before I start? Probably. That's my bad. But it is something you have to remember. I'm doing these live. So if they seem unprepared, Kings are dumb. They don't even go to the World Series. Okay, we got a troll in the chat. That's a fact. There's a troll. It's got to be a troll. Big PP gang. I wonder who that is. It's gotta be. I feel like it's somebody probably that I know. It could just be a troll, but I feel like they're purposely. I feel it feels like a personal troll. So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, I'm Steve from work. Oh, Steve from work. Yeah, I know Steve from work. I don't think I know anybody at work named Steve. Which is funny because that's a common name. Anyway, so like stuff like this. This isn't, this is stuff that on YouTube you're like, well, this guy's just like mumbling on like an idiot. But on Twitch, this is like normal, just interacting and talking. It might seem unprepared, it kind of is, but that's kind of the fun of it. So let's get into the breakdown. So the game started. Suns won the tip. Immediately, Buddy Bucket stole the ball, dunked it home. But then the Kings basically followed that with the next couple of minutes with 3 turnovers, and Barnes had an offensive foul, which from what I remember, it seemed like it was kind of questionable, but I could be wrong because there's a couple offensive fouls in this game. Richaun Holmes, speaking of fouls, he had like I think a foul where like he jumped and somebody kind of like ran into him. But Richaun Holmes, like I like Richaun. Trust me, I saw somebody on Twitter say Richaun Holmes should be our starter for the next 5 years. I totally 100% wholeheartedly agree. That being said, he needs to work on not picking up stupid fouls. Now, a lot of times, to me, what separates a good defender from a great defender in the NBA, and this might be something controversial. This might be as controversial as the Jokic thing. Because I know there's some Draymond Green fanboys out there. But to me, Draymond Green is a good defender. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George are great defenders. Why do I say that? Draymond Green can very easily, people can get in his head and he can pick up stupid fouls. Draymond Green all the time is picking up dumb fouls, and then he gets mad, and it's partly because he yells at the refs, similar to DeMarcus Cousins. He gets away with a lot more than DeMarcus ever could. But to me, Draymond Green is overrated because he picks up stupid fouls when he's defending. Kawhi Leonard, I don't recall Kawhi Leonard ever being in foul trouble when I watch him. Now, either way, it could be said that a good defender or a great defender, they're going to pick up a lot of fouls because they're aggressive when they're defending, and that makes sense. But you have to have the mental fortitude to, one, not let people get in your head, and two, you have to have the patience not to just, I want that steal, and then pick up dumb fouls. And I feel like sometimes Richaun Holmes picks up fouls that he shouldn't. And I think, and side note, I do think Draymond Green's an overrated player. I can't stand that dude. So come at me. I'd take Nikola Jokic over Draymond, probably more than likely. I can't stand Draymond. I can't stand Jokic. Can't stand either of those guys. Draymond's obviously a better defender than Jokic. Jokic can't move his feet. But point being is, Draymond picks up dumb fouls. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, I don't think I've ever seen them pick up a dumb foul ever in my life. Or they've had dumb fouls, but you know what I mean. I've never remember thinking, oh man, Kawhi Leonard's about to foul out. I can't remember once when he was in foul trouble. Playoffs, regular season games on the Spurs. So Febo says he gets away with a lot of fouls on bigs because he's smaller and refs swallow their whistle. Exactly. There's tons of times too where Draymond should pick up more fouls than he doesn't. So it's really, and Kawhi Leonard, if he's guarding somebody equal size, they might let him get away with more because it's like, it's not like he's this big 7-foot dude smashing a little 5'8" guy over the head. But still, I don't know. Febo backs up my point there. The refs swallow their whistle a lot on Draymond Green, not only because he's smaller than other big men that he's guarding, but because for some reason they just love him. They don't love him because he yells at him. But DeMarcus, there's been so many times where I've been watching a Warriors game and I'm like, if DeMarcus would have done what Draymond just done, he would have been thrown out of the league for 10 years. So it's annoying. I'm not going to listen to Draymond Green thing. But the point being is I think Richaun Holmes picks up too many dumb fouls sometimes. He gets into foul trouble, which that's why we have depth. That's why we have Bagley, Giles, Dedmon, Holmes. But Holmes is our best defender as a big man, and it'd be nice if he wasn't getting in foul trouble. But that being said, Devin Booker got off to a slow start. Fantastic defense by the Sacramento Kings here in this game, though, and they were just every single shot they were just right in front of a Suns player, just like this with their hands up. You can't, every single shot there was never an easy shot, or there were some easy shots for the Suns, but for the most part, great defense. The Kings had 6 turnovers in the first quarter, which that's a problem. I think 2 of those may have been offensive fouls that were turnovers. I know one was a Barnes offensive foul. But second quarter, we're blowing out the Suns. Justin James, I think we're beating them like 22-9. This isn't an extreme blowout, but you know what I mean. Justin James gets some minutes. Justin James. Unbelievable. Wearing the Mike Bibby number 10. Justin James, it's funny, I text a buddy at work. Now, it wasn't Steve. I did not text Steve. Steve, you know who you are. I didn't text you. I don't even know who you are, but you know who you are. I did not text you. I text another buddy with a generic name, actually. But anyways, I'm not going to go into his name. And I text him, I said, I basically put, you get to see Justin James live with exclamation marks because he was at the game. And that was me being kind of sarcastic because he's Justin James. He's not like, And then Justin James gets a sick block, and then Bielitsa gets a block after the James block. Back-to-back blocks in the same possession. I was like, ooh, Justin James. And he is wiry. He is athletic. If Justin James goes on to... Justin James could be a really good 3-and-D guy. I mean, he's a little undersized. I think he's like 6'5", I want to say. So here's an example of me going to look something up while I'm streaming. Is it unprepared? Maybe. But, now I'm curious. Justin James. How tall is he? I want to say he's 6'7". Okay, he's 6'7". But I think I had a friend at work tell me that No, it wasn't a friend at work. I saw him at the... what's it called? I have the poster behind me somewhere. The summer thing they do. The California Classic. And he did not look 6'7". He looked about 6'5". That's why I said 6'5", because my assumption was that he's shorter than he is. When I saw him, I was like, damn, there's no way he's 6'7". But maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe I have dumb eyes. But either way, if he can just hit a three and, continue to be wiry and become a good defender, he would be a perfect, 11th guy off the bench for the Kings. Dwayne Dedmon had a nice little fadeaway in the mid-range. I was like, ooh, that was nasty. Dwayne Dedmon can hit the fade a little bit. It's pretty nice from Dedmon. And, Dedmon for the most part is not very impressive, but every once in a while he does there's little nuggets in his game that you're like, oh, he did that. Wow. And that's what I'd like to see more of from him. Bogdanovich went off. I believe he had, within probably the 2 or 3 minutes of game time, he had a three-pointer, and I think he had a step back two, and then another three-pointer, and every single shot was don't ask me why I have these two things here, but if this was the basket, it was whoop, it wasn't even touching the net, it was just straight, boop, every time, it was just going straight in. It was amazing. I'm like, man, you're the... Bogdan's the man. I love me some Bogdanovich. Shout out to Skip, that's his favorite player on the Kings. What's up with De'Aaron Fox's neck right there? Why is it got a gray spot in his neck right there? It's kind of weird. Something on my green screen? No? Right there. Fixed it. That was bothering me. There's some lint on my green screen. Okay, so back to where we were. Yeah, so Bogey at one point was hitting all his shots like a stud. They had a 50-31 lead going into halftime. They played pretty sloppy to end the quarter, though. They kind of, the thing with Bogdan, and this is what's interesting, and this is what me and last time I did a stream, Codename Davis, what's going on, man? How you doing? The last time I streamed, I think me and Curtis kind of got into an argument. He was in the chat, and I was talking about how Bogdan needs the ball in his hands when he's on fire, and he was saying, well, Corey Joseph, because there was a thing where every time Corey Joseph got the ball, Bogdan was going like that, like he wanted it, and Corey Joseph wouldn't give it to him. And I'm like, well, if he's a hot hand, you got to give it to him. And then Curtis is like, well, Corey Joseph knows they got to run an offense. They have an offense to run. They don't need to just be chucking up shots. And we kind of, it is what it was. It was argument, like he's kicked off the Sacktown breakdown, or I'm kicked off the Sacktown breakdown. We're just kind of debating, And it did kind of get to a point where Bogdan was hitting all these shots, and then the offense slowed down, and they were kind of sludging it up and playing slow, and it was okay, where's the ball movement? Where's the half-court offense? And then when the half-court offense doesn't work, they don't run, and that's a problem I'm going to get into later. So they played sloppy to end the second quarter, but, we were still up. I don't even... Well, oh, what? Man, you know what's funny? I tried to be prepared for this one. I put the Suns Kings box score on Google, and then I deleted it like an idiot. But anyways, they were still up by a good amount at halftime. I think it was 62 to like, it was something ridiculous. It was like 62. It was like a 20-point blowout, I want to say, going into halftime. So going into the third quarter, let me flip my page here. Bielitsa hit a pretty nice three-pointer. Everything that the Suns were shooting was contested. It was beautiful. The Suns were really just couldn't buy a bucket. Corey Joseph had a nice little mid-range jumper where he kind of dribbled the ball down the court, looked around. He didn't really know what to do with it. So he's like, okay, I'll pull up. And he pulled up a little bit above the elbow. That was nice. Amazing ball movement coming out, in the third quarter. Really swinging the ball around. And really, like, sharing the ball. It was just like, boom, 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 shoot, boom, money. It was nice. But at the end of the third quarter, no Kings lead's ever safe. And by the way, as you can see right here on my phone, I kept the Twitch. I don't know if you can see that. I kept the Twitch alert. When you're going live. I noticed Curtis last time he streamed. I think it was for the Lakers game. He made the alert that goes out on cell phones say turnovers got me, mad. With the cussing emoji. And I kept that. I could have changed it, but turnovers were getting me mad. The Kings were starting to blow it at the end of the third quarter, giving up easy points, and the pace really slowed down to a sludge. It was gross. Now, at this point in the game, I was starting to kind of fall asleep, to be honest with you, because I was like so tired, man. I've been working some long hours, so I was just like dozing off and trying to like stay up. So my third quarter notes kind of ended there. The last two things I said was starting to blow it at the end of the third, pace has slowed, and then it's really sloppy. But you can tell I woke up though. I mean, my writing is sloppy regardless, but if you look at my handwriting, that is sloppier than that. So I woke up a little bit, as you can tell by my handwriting. The Suns went on a 10-0 run. Bogdan ended it with a 3. But one problem I had with this game, Bogdan, and this is a guy at work. I was talking to, not Steve from work. It was not Steve from work. It was a different guy. Same guy I was talking about earlier. He was telling me something that was kind of fascinating. I thought this was funny. He told me that he feels like Bogdan, most shooters, they shoot the ball to get hot. But it's like Bogdan can pass the ball and get hot from passing and then decide, I got a couple assists. I'm going to shoot a 3 now. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of like a little bit of a joke, but at the same time, it's kind of true. Like Bogdan amps himself up by passing and then he decides to shoot sometimes. But sometimes when he gets hot shooting, he wants to also swing the ball around and pass. I don't know if maybe he feels guilty for shooting the ball so much, so he wants to pass it. So he starts forcing passes. He had like 3 passes where he would try to like do a bounce pass under someone's like hand or under their leg or whatever, and the other player would like kick it, or the other player would just steal it and go to the other side, for a layup. Not full court, coast to coast. There was a couple passes of Bogdan's that were pretty sloppy, and when you're somebody that's going to be handling the ball like that, if you're going to be having 10, 12 assists or whatever, you're going to have probably 2, 3, 4 turnovers. That's something Chris Paul has been so good at in his career. He has, for the amount of assists he has, he really limits his turnovers. That's what makes Chris Paul an all-time great. His assist to turnover ratio is amazing. But Bogdan, he had some sloppy passing. He was still hitting his threes the whole game. Bogdanovic had a mid-range fadeaway that was super nice, and once again, going right through, didn't even touch the net. Corey Joseph showed off some nice defense, pretty much locking everybody up. Bogdanovic, I believe, and let's go check the box score real quick. Where's it at? Hardware, display capture. Check the box score. Bogdanovic ended the game with a career high 31 points. His previous career high was 28. He had 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 11 of 14 shooting, 7 of 9 from 3. Probably one of the coolest things that's happened for the Kings in a while. Corey Joseph had a career high 14 assists. His 14th assist was to Bogdanovic's 7th three-pointer, which was his career high 31 points. So in the same play, Bogdan shot his career high three, which is his 7th three-pointer. He shot his career high, that three-pointer got him his 31 points, which was his career high. And on the same play, that shot came from an assist from Corey Joseph, which was his career high in assists in 14. So that was pretty sick. If you look at the rest of the team here, Rashawn Holmes, 20 points, 15 rebounds. Bielitsa, 17 points, 8 rebounds. 2 blocks from Holmes, 2 blocks from Corey Joseph. This team really looked nice. Yogi Ferrell, he's a stud. Me and my dad, every time we watch Kings game together, we've started to do the Yogi Ferrell every time he makes a shot. We do it in our living room now, so there's no excuse for you not to be doing it at home. Buddy Hield, I have some things to complain about with him here. That's going to come up in a second. Now, as for the Suns, Devin Booker had 30 points on 20 shots, 10 of 20 shooting. Not very efficient. It's 50% from the field, but he could have done better. Oubre kind of played uncharacteristic at times. 8 of 17 shooting. He had 20 points. Dario Saric, he was not that effective. Rubio 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. I do think the Suns with Baines and Ayton can play pretty well, and Javon Carter. Javon Carter's played well here and there, but I think they can play pretty well. But this was just not their night, and part of that, a lot of that is because of the Kings defense. So, shout out to them. Now I got a couple things I want to complain about here. So Kings win 120-116. Bielitsa had a nice 3 with a couple minutes left. I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. The score was 111-99. Now, if you do the math, the Kings won 120-116. So the Kings let the Suns come back. Terrible. Awful. The Kings need to hold on to these leads. The Kings cannot hold on to a lead. You can never trust a Kings lead, ever. You just can't do it. I don't care if you're playing the Hornets, the Suns, the 96 Bulls, or like the 2012 Bobcats. They could be playing the best team ever or the worst team ever. They cannot hold on to a lead. It's just disgusting. It is. It irritates me. Towards the end of the game, I started falling asleep again because the end of the game literally took forever. I swear to God, it took like, I want to say the final 10 minutes of the game probably took like 30. Like, it was ridiculous. No, sorry. The final, my bad. The final 2 minutes probably took like 15 minutes. It was ridiculous. I mean, there was fouls. Devin Booker would hit a 3-pointer. So then the Suns would get closer, and then they'd foul the Kings, and then there'd be a timeout, then there'd be another timeout, then there'd be they'd play for 5 seconds, somebody would foul, there'd be a little ticky-tack foul here, then there'd be this, and it was like, oh, so exhausting, and the Kings were letting it happen. That was the most frustrating thing. The Kings were letting the Suns come back. It's like, why? Just do what you need to do. Eventually they put Corey Joseph in there. Once they put Corey Joseph in there, he was fast enough and good enough ball handler to kind of zoom around the court and not just get fouled immediately and pass the ball. And that was nice. But you had Buddy and Bogdan in there. Like, it was just... Corey Joseph needs to be on the ball when ball handling... When ball handling is absolutely needed for this team, Corey Joseph needs to be on the floor. You can't rely on Buddy and Bogdan, which Bogdan is actually a phenomenal ball handler. Leaps and bounds better than Buddy Hield. But still... in this situation, you need to have Corey Joseph. No, I take that back. They put Yogi Ferrell in there, not Corey Joseph. And Yogi Ferrell was the quick one with the ball running around, not getting chased. But Corey Joseph or Yogi need to be in there. Because De'Aaron Fox is out right now, you can't afford to have no ball handlers in there when they need ball handling badly because they're getting chased around trying to be fouled by the Suns. So Buddy kind of threw up a brick of a 3, with a little bit, not that much time left. And then when he threw up that brick, and this was an example of something that made the game draw on forever. Buddy threw up a corner 3, and it bricked, it came towards him, and he reached and tried to grab it, and he fouled the Suns player. And I think the Suns player got free throws. And Luke Walton got up, got pissed, and yelled at Buddy. I was like, ooh, Buddy's in the doghouse. It was like, but it makes me feel good though, because honestly, I am sick and tired of Buddy, the way Buddy Hield. Let me take a break, take a sip of coffee. About to go on a rant. Buddy Hield sucks as a ball handler. Now, he's been better since his first year. But Buddy Hield needs to pay attention and handle the ball. He needs to not turn the ball over. Buddy Hield, he'll throw the ball out of bounds. He'll dribble it off his foot. He'll pick up stupid fouls. He just plays like... He plays Ben McLemore-esque at times. I didn't want to say it. I'm sorry. I apologize. But he does. Sometimes it's like, damn, that's like a... He reminds me of Ben McLemore sometimes. And it sucks to say because he's so much more talented than Ben McLemore could ever dream of being. But he has the same stupid mistakes. Not being able to handle the ball, dribbling it off his foot, picking up stupid fouls. It's like, it's the same stuff Ben McLemore would do. It's like, what are you doing? Just stop. Can you just not? That's all. Just please don't. Just please don't do the things that you're doing. Please stop. Just if you don't handle the ball, pass it to somebody else. Have Jordan Dedmon take it up the floor for all I care, buddy. Just stop trying to handle the ball and do stuff you can't do. Now it's like, okay, well, how is he ever going to learn if he doesn't do it in the game? I get that. But the thing is, buddy, we can't afford to be losing. We can't be blowing the Suns out by 20 points and then only win by 4 points. And part of the reason is because he couldn't make a shot and he's picking up stupid fouls. It's like, what are you doing? Like, come on. It's just so frustrating for me. Buddy just needs to wake up, man. Either he hits everything or he just... The thing with Buddy is either he hits every single shot or he's just a complete, like, negative for us. It's very black and white with Buddy. Either he's really good or he stinks. It's like not... someone like Bogdan, he can kind of contribute in more ways than just scoring. Like, he can play some alright defense. He can not even shoot the ball and just play as like a point guard, a playmaker. But Buddy, his defense is spotty at times. For the most part, he's pretty good defensively, I would say. But like, he can't play make, and he doesn't have to be a playmaker. We have playmakers on the floor. We have De'Aaron. We could even play make through Giles if we wanted to, but we're not there. Bogdan. Bielitsa can throw some nice passes. Like, we have plenty of good playmakers on the floor. And when Buddy is relied on to do it, it's just a mess. And not even... The thing is, there's times where he's not even being relied on to play make, and he takes matters into his own hands when he shouldn't, and then he screws the team over. It's just like, stop. Now, I don't know if he thinks he's got to live up to the new contract he signed or what it is, but it's like, he just needs to relax. And, you look at the box score here. Put the box score back up on the screen. He was 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. 12 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. But it's not like those assists are like he's really setting up his teammates. It's pretty much just within the flow of the half-court offense. And, with that being said, the final thing I want to talk about is the half-court offense. And if you follow us on Twitter, the Sacktown Breakdown, let me go ahead and throw it up on the screen for you here. Profile. Is the Sacktown Breakdown at? Man. Alright, hold up. I thought I would be signed into the Sacktown Breakdown. Apparently not. Are we shadow banned? Okay, here it is. So my boy Skip was talking last night. And he was saying... And I gotta, bring this up because Skip ain't here right now, so I want to give you guys Skip's opinion on it. Skip does the majority of the talking on our Twitter on the Sacktown Breakdown. He does the majority of the tweets. But he was saying how the Kings basically... They don't run enough. And they should be running. And these games where... Right here. Katie Christensen tweeted this game... Katie Christensen had said, this game is slowing down to a snail pace. And Skip said, and this is why a little more pace is important for us. Got to brandish it every now and then. I'm glad we are learning to play defense in half court, but we have a weapon that we aren't using, pace. And that's exactly the problem here, is the Kings are not using their pace when they should. The Kings, if they want to be a half court team, okay, here's what the Kings should do to challenge themselves. They should play slow down and play the slow half court offense until they're blowing the other team out by 20. And then when they're blowing them out by 20, run it up to 30 with pace. Or vice versa. Run them out the gym with, by 20 with pace, and then slow it down and see if you can get the lead to 30 with slowing it down playing half court. Like, instead of running, they just play super slow, and it's kind of dangerous for the Kings, because if they play the half court offense, they'll start playing slow, and then it's like they play too slow. So they need to try to find a happy medium where they can play slow, but they can still get to the fast if they need to, and not go down this way where they're slow. They need to be able to go from half court to full court offense and stay right here in the middle, instead of being from half court to snail's pace offense. And this is, sometimes they get to this, they don't want to be here. They want to be from here on. Half court, full court, in the middle. And that's not what they do. And it's like they need to figure out some sort of way to balance the full court and the half court offense. Because right now they have no full court offense. And they could, but they don't, because I don't know if Luke Walton just doesn't want to implement it. I don't know what it is, but I was telling Skip the other day, and I'm probably going to end the stream with this. We were talking, and I was telling him, I thought Luke Walton was going to be a really good hire for the Kings. I actually really liked it. And then, thank you, Skip. I've had this thing for years. There's been this red and blue retro King stuff for years. When you go back and watch the stream, you'll hear me talk about this stuff a bit. How I've had it for a long time, and now the Kings are finally using this retro stuff, so now I can actually wear it and look normal. Whereas before I just looked like some weirdo, because it's from the 90s, and nobody else wears red and blue stuff. But that's why I liked it, actually, because it was different. Now everyone's gonna be wearing it, so actually I'm gonna burn it now that I think about it. But anyways, I'm an idiot. Okay, so what I was saying was, it's like, I was telling Skip, we were texting, and I was telling him I thought the Luke Walton hire was gonna be really good. And then when we sucked, I was like, okay, Luke Walton, I hate his guts. But then the half-court offense started working, and I thought that essentially, to me, this Kings team is what the Lakers team should have been, with Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma. I know it's different pieces, different players, but a young team that can work hard and run up and down the floor. That's what Luke Walton wanted with the Lakers, and that got taken away from him when LeBron showed up. So I was like, okay, this is what he had with the Lakers, but to me, the Kings are a more talented group of players, so it's a perfect match. And when the Kings started sucking and they weren't running up and down the floor and they're playing slow, I was like, wow, we are awful. Luke Walton stinks. But the half-court offense is actually good now. And I'm like, okay, maybe Luke Walton was onto something when he said, because I had told Skip a while back that I feel like the half-court offense will be crucial in the playoffs, because if we just try to run and gun the whole time, we're going to get killed, Just like how teams would run and gun, and then when they played the Grizzlies, they were screwed, because the Grizzlies would just destroy them in the half-court offense. And I actually liked that Luke Walton was trying to implement a half-court offense. But now it's getting a little too far to where Luke Walton burned down everything Dave Yeager taught the Kings, and like Skip has told me, all these Kings players seemed like they didn't really like Dave Yeager, so they were probably fine to never implement anything Dave Yeager taught them. But Luke Walton burned down last year's system, created his own system, and he got them from running, totally changed them up, to half-court offense, which I think is impressive that he was able to burn them down, teach them something completely new, and they're doing that. So now I'm like, okay, Luke Walton, he is the real deal. He actually is getting them to play well. And honestly, I wasn't trying to use this excuse at the time, and I still think it's kind of a lame excuse to use. But I really do think, looking back at it, having some time to think about it, I think that India trip really killed the Kings, bad. And the Pacers, too. The Pacers did not start the season well. They started out 0-3. We started out 0-5. Now both teams have flipped it around. They're playing amazing. I think that India trip is a no more for the Kings. I think we should not do that anymore. That should be done. I think it's a bunch of BS. I'm no more going to India. Sorry, Vivek. I wouldn't do it. But let me finish my point. I'm impressed that Luke Walton has been able to burn down last year's system, implement the half-court offense. But what I'll be most impressed with is if he's able to re-implement the run-and-gun style and balance it out. When he does that, he will have completely 100% win me over as a coach. If Luke Walton can bring that run-and-gun pace back, balance it out, it'll be amazing. That's when I'll know this was for sure 100% our pick. And he the job's halfway done. He's implemented the half-court offense that we thought, oh, this was garbage, and it looks nice now. And the Kings can slow the game down and win. But we have to implement, when De'Aaron Fox comes back and Bagley comes back, we got to run and gun. We have to. That's the only way we're going to really make noise. We can't just run and gun. We can't play half-court offense. We got to do both. And I think if we can do both, we're going to be amazing, because how many teams, like, if you really think about it, when the Warriors were playing, let me put it this way. How many teams do you know were equally as good at half-court and run and gun? Not many. I feel like if we're able to be equally as good at both, it'll be something that the league will not be ready for, and it'll be great. But it's yet to be seen if the pace is ever going to come back. Skip says, right, why would Vlade get his 3 rim runners as we not use them? Exactly. So that's that. I feel like when I do these breakdowns, I feel like I've been on air for probably like 35 minutes now. I feel like I haven't breathed once. I feel like I've been talking all one big breath. I'm like out of breath right now. But that is, I think, it for... Damn, Phoebo says I'll continue to be ignorant and say Walton is a bad hire with the little kappa there. Yeah, Phoebo, we need you to just play devil's advocate anyways. You're going to be Phoebo, that's your new role here. You're going to be the devil's advocate. So anytime I say anything, you just say the opposite. And Warriors, see, Skip says Warriors were good at both, and that's where it came from. Warriors took our old best show on court, Princeton offense, for their half-court offense. Yes, they did. The Warriors were good at both. And that's actually, I was going to make the case that they weren't, and then I thought about it for about 2 seconds. And I was like, oh, wait, yeah, they totally were good at both. Because there's tons of times the game would slow down, they'd get a 3 to Klay Thompson in the corner. The game was fast, Klay Thompson 3 in the corner. Steph 3-pointer. Draymond would hit 3 every now and then from half court or full court. They could do both. And what other teams could do both? I mean, the Cavaliers could do both, kind of. I mean, they were in the LeBron offense. They were slow it down, one-on-one. I feel like the Cavs were more of a half-court team because of the LeBron offense. But they could run and gun too sometimes when they had the guys like J.R. Smith and Kyrie out there whipping the ball around and shooting threes. But they were more of a half-court offense team, I'd say. And I'm trying to think of other teams from that era. The Hawks could kind of do both, but they never had I'm talking like the Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, Damari Carroll, Paul Millsap, Al Horford Hawks. That team never had a main scorer that could really carry the team. So they had to play fast, full court, whip the ball around, shoot threes, because that's the only way they could score. They didn't have somebody like the Warriors had Kevin Durant that could stop the game and just chuck up threes like a beast. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Bucks are kind of a team that can go half court sometimes. I mean, the Bucks can pretty much do it all because Giannis can do it all. I mean, Giannis is starting to shoot 3 a little better. But anyways, yeah, I think the Kings are onto something. I think the Kings could really dominate with their half court and full court play both. But that's yet to be seen, like I said. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, guys, at the top of the show, Skip will get that Celtics review out sometime in the future here. He's busy, I'm busy, and this is the last you'll see of me for probably at least a week. So, yep, it's Thanksgiving week, and honestly, I think for Skip's line of work, Christmas will probably be pretty difficult on him. So there's probably a good chance that I'm taking over for a couple weeks around then. I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, that's the that's what I'm guessing here, because you know, we got to cover for each other, and that's what a good partnership does. That's why Skip's here, because he's taking over for me, I take over for him. That's how it works. But for Skip, thank you, Phoebo, Codename Davis, and my boy Big Peepee Gang. Don't know who you are. Apparently you're Steve from work. Actually, you couldn't be Steve from work, because I heard that Steve from work doesn't have a big peepee. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm sick in the head. All right, we are going. Thank you, Phoebo. Thank you, Skip. Thank you, Codename Davis. Thank you, Big PP Gang, for coming into the stream. Thank you guys so much. This has been another Sacktown breakdown. Kings beat the Suns, 120-116. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one. I love you guys.